Capricorn One, 1977, wasn't just a thriller about faking a Mars landing. It was the conspiracy theory that launched 1,000 moon hoax believers
Came away after seeing this movie. Nothing went wrong.
and nearly destroyed director Peter Hyams' career. One stunt went wrong and hospitalized the lead actor. The production ran out of money in the desert, and the ending audiences saw wasn't what Hyams originally filmed. These are 16 facts about the film that made conspiracy theorists legitimate. Written and filmed before moon landing. Conspiracy theories. Became mainstream, Peter Hyams wrote Capricorn One in 1974, before moon landing hoaxes became widespread conspiracy theories. At the time, few people seriously questioned Apollo's authenticity. Hyams conceived the idea after watching Watergate hearings and wondering what other massive government deceptions might be possible. He chose a Mars mission because it seemed safely fictional. Nobody had been to Mars. The script's premise that NASA would fake a planetary landing to avoid admitting failure struck producers as clever thriller material, nothing more. However, by the time Capricorn One released in June 1977, conspiracy culture was exploding. Bill Kaysing's self-published book claiming moon landings were faked had gained traction. OJ Simpson was cast. Before his football career ended, J. Simpson played astronaut John Walker while still actively playing professional football for the Buffalo Bills and San Francisco 49ers. The production scheduled around his football commitments. Simpson filmed during the NFL offseason in spring 1976. He was America's beloved sports hero, appearing in commercials and films as a charming personality. Director Peter Hyams cast him for star power and likability. Simpson had minimal acting experience, but his natural charisma worked for the role. The production treated him as the biggest name in the cast despite James Brolin receiving top billing. Simpson's scenes were filmed efficiently to accommodate his schedule. Decades later, after Simpson's murder trial and conviction for armed robbery, the film became unwatchable for many viewers. Simpson's presence transformed from asset to liability. The production couldn't have anticipated how his casting would age disastrously. The climactic biplane rescue was filmed with real helicopter pursuing. Real plane. The film's thrilling finale showing Elliot Gould's character rescued from helicopter gunships by a crop duster was filmed with real aircraft in genuine high-speed pursuit. Stunt pilot Frank Tallman flew the biplane at treetop level with an actual helicopter pursuing close behind. No special effects or rear projection was used. The aircraft really flew dangerously close together at high speeds. Safety coordinators warned the sequence was reckless. Peter Hyams insisted on authenticity. During one take, the helicopter descended too aggressively, and its downdraft nearly forced the biplane into the ground. Tallman struggled to maintain control. The close call was captured on film and appears in the final cut. Crew members watching the monitors believed they were witnessing a fatal crash. Tallman recovered at the last moment. Aviation authorities investigated after the incident. Hyams was reprimanded, but the spectacular footage remained. James Brolin suffered second-degree burns during desert escape sequence. James Brolin performed his own stunts during the grueling desert sequences. The scene showing his character crawling through scorching terrain under the blazing sun wasn't faked. Brolin spent days filming in the Mojave Desert where ground temperatures exceeded 130 degrees Fahrenheit. He wore only a thin flight suit providing minimal protection. During one extended take, Brolin developed second-degree burns on his hands and knees from contact with superheated sand and rocks. He didn't realize the severity until after filming wrapped for the day. Medics treated the burns on location. Brolin required bandaging and continued filming with injuries. Peter Hyams felt terrible but appreciated Brolin's commitment. NASA refused all cooperation and tried to block production. NASA absolutely refused to cooperate with Capricorn One's production. The space agency considered the premise dangerous and offensive. NASA officials contacted Associated General Films, requesting the project be abandoned. They argued the film would damage public trust in the space program. The studio refused. NASA then denied all access to facilities, equipment, and technical consultation. Peter Hyams couldn't film at Johnson Space Center or use any NASA resources. The production built replica mission control sets from photographs and news footage. Technical details came from independent aerospace consultants. NASA's hostility continued after release. Agency officials publicly criticized the film, calling it irresponsible and misleading. They worried conspiracy theorists would cite it as evidence. The production ran out of money and shut down for 3 weeks. Midway through production, Associated General Films literally ran out of money. The studio couldn't make payroll. Filming stopped abruptly in August 1976, with 3 weeks of shooting remaining. Cast and crew were sent home without pay. Peter Hyams scrambled to find emergency financing. He approached multiple studios and independent financiers. The unfinished footage showed promise, but nobody wanted to invest in a troubled production. Finally, ITC Entertainment provided bridge financing to complete production. Filming resumed in September with a reduced crew and tightened schedule. The financial crisis forced compromises. Several planned sequences were simplified or abandoned. Hal Holbrook accepted his role to finance independent theater work. Hal Holbrook played Dr. James Kellaway, the NASA administrator orchestrating the conspiracy. Holbrook was a respected stage actor who worked in film primarily for money. He accepted Capricorn One specifically because the salary would finance his passion project, touring his one-man Mark Twain show to regional theaters. Holbrook viewed Hollywood work as necessary commerce funding his artistic pursuits. He gave the role minimal preparation and filmed his scenes quickly. Despite this mercenary approach, Holbrook delivered a chilling performance. His Kellaway is genuinely menacing precisely because Holbrook played him with cold professionalism, rather than scenery-chewing villainy. The character's bureaucratic evil felt realistic and terrifying. Holbrook later admitted he was surprised the film worked as well as it did. His calculated detachment accidentally created the perfect antagonist. If you're enjoying these conspiracy-fueled production stories from classic thriller cinema, make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss our next deep dive. We've got more dangerous filmmaking secrets coming soon. Now back to the fake Mars landing. Telly Savalas improvised his entire crop duster character. Telly Savalas appears briefly as Albane, the eccentric crop duster pilot who rescues Elliot Gould. The character wasn't in Peter Hyams' original script. During location scouting in rural California, Hyams met a real crop duster pilot whose colorful personality fascinated him. Hyams added a rescue sequence specifically to include this character type. He cast Savalas, who was between seasons of Kojak and available for a few days. Savalas arrived without learning the minimal dialogue. He improvised everything based on Hyams describing the character concept. The rambling monologue about aerial maneuvers and government conspiracies came entirely from Savalas' imagination. The film's release coincided exactly with growing Watergate cynicism. Capricorn One opened June 3, 1977, during peak post-Watergate government distrust. Nixon had resigned in disgrace less than 3 years earlier. Congressional investigations revealed CIA assassinations, FBI surveillance of activists, and widespread official lying. Public faith in institutions collapsed. The film's premise that the government would orchestrate massive deception felt plausible rather than far-fetched. Audiences primed for conspiracy theories embraced it enthusiastically. Peter Hyams had written the script during Watergate hearings, but the timing of release was fortuitous. The cultural moment perfectly matched the film's cynical worldview. Critics praised it for capturing 70s paranoia. Box office exceeded expectations. Jerry Goldsmith's score was recorded in London to avoid American Union costs. Composer Jerry Goldsmith created Capricorn One's memorable score, but the production couldn't afford American musicians' union rates. The budget crisis forced creative solutions. Goldsmith recorded the entire score in London using British musicians who worked for lower wages. The London Symphony Orchestra performed Goldsmith's compositions at Abbey Road Studios. This cost roughly half what Los Angeles recording would have required. Goldsmith personally supervised the London sessions. The financial necessity actually improved the final product. British orchestral musicians brought different sensibilities to the American thriller. The score's suspenseful strings and ominous brass benefited from European orchestral traditions. Brenda Vaccaro's character was expanded after test screenings. Brenda Vaccaro played Kay Brubaker, Charles Brubaker's wife. Her role in Peter Hyams' original script was minimal, a few domestic scenes establishing family stakes. Test screenings revealed audiences wanted more of her character. Viewers responded to Vaccaro's performance and wanted to see her reaction to the conspiracy. Hyams quickly wrote additional scenes during post-production. Vaccaro returned for pickup shots showing Kay's growing suspicion and investigation. These added scenes strengthened the emotional stakes considerably. Kay became an active participant rather than passive victim. The expansion improved the film's dramatic balance. Vaccaro appreciated the additional material and delivered powerful performances in the new scenes. The Mars landing set was repurposed aircraft hangar near Mojave. The massive soundstage where the fake Mars landing is filmed was actually an abandoned aircraft hangar near Mojave, California. The production couldn't afford to build full-scale sets on a soundstage. Production designer Albert Brenner found the hangar and transformed it into the Conspiracy Center. The cavernous space provided authentic industrial atmosphere. Brenner added the Martian landscape, lighting equipment, and mission control mock-ups. The hangar's genuine deterioration enhanced the setting's sinister quality. Filmmakers used the real structure's flaws rather than hiding them. The location choice saved significant money while improving visual authenticity. Elliot Gould was cast. Because he'd just finished Robert Altman collaboration, Elliot Gould played investigative reporter Robert Caulfield, fresh from working with director Robert Altman on multiple films. Altman's improvisational, naturalistic style had made Gould a bankable star known for bringing authenticity to genre material. Peter Hyams wanted that Altman-influenced realism for his paranoid thriller. Gould's casting brought credibility and box office appeal. However, Gould's improvisational habits clashed with Hyams' precisely scripted approach. Hyams wrote tight dialogue and expected actors to deliver it exactly as written. Gould constantly suggested alterations and ad-libs. The conflict created tension throughout production. Hyams allowed some improvisation, but less than Gould wanted. Their compromise produced good results, but neither was completely satisfied. The film inspired real moon landing conspiracy movements. Despite Hyams' intentions, Peter Hyams never imagined his fictional thriller would fuel actual conspiracy theories. He wrote entertainment, not documentary speculation. However, Capricorn One became foundational text for moon landing deniers. Conspiracy theorists cited it as proof that NASA possessed capability and willingness to fake space missions. The film's plausible depiction of how such a hoax could work convinced people it had happened. Hyams spent decades trying to distance himself from conspiracy movements. He repeatedly explained the film was fiction and that Apollo missions were absolutely real. Conspiracy theorists ignored him or accused him of being pressured to recant. The phenomenon disturbed Hyams deeply. He'd created entertainment that accidentally legitimized anti-science movements. The unintended consequences haunted him. Capricorn One demonstrated how fiction can dangerously blur into perceived reality when it aligns with pre-existing suspicions and cultural distrust. Alternate ending, Peter Hyams filmed a significantly darker conclusion that test audiences rejected. The original ending showed the 3 astronauts successfully exposing the conspiracy during a televised press conference. Mid-testimony, government agents stormed the conference room and arrested everyone. A news anchor explained that the astronauts had been overcome by stress and their testimony was delusional. Caulfield's evidence was confiscated and destroyed. The final shot showed Kellaway watching television in his office, smiling, while news reports accepted the official denial. The conspiracy succeeded completely. Truth was suppressed. Test audiences hated this bleak conclusion, finding it too cynical and depressing. Capricorn One could have been a straightforward thriller about astronauts in peril with a triumphant ending. Instead, Peter Hyams created a paranoid masterpiece that accidentally launched conspiracy movements, hospitalized actors in the desert, and ran out of money mid-production. The darker ending was rejected. NASA tried stopping it, and conspiracy theorists never stopped believing. Some fiction becomes dangerous truth.